Hi, everyone, and welcome to the maiden edition of The Creative Juice with Adeleke Aladikoba. I'm your host, and this is a platform for the creatives to really explore the creative journey of individuals who are doing exceptionally well in their craft. And are not just doing exceptionally well, they are leaving clues on how they got there. Some of them will tell you, but that's the job of this podcast. We will drag it out of them. All right. And my guest on today's episode, you see, before I introduce him, I'm going to tell you something about him. So I went to speak at an event here in Calgary, the Nigerian Canadian Association Newcomers event. And I stepped out briefly, but then I heard someone singing and I started laughing because it was more comedy than music, but the music was so good that it made the comedy resonate more. So I came in and saw, okay, what is this person? And I was like, wow. So I did my background check and saw that, woo, this man has a lot going on for him. And I said, you know what? We need to connect and speak because we share similar stories or similar parts in our creative journeys. And a few weeks, I think last week, I was just, when you're tired scrolling, and then I saw a cartoon, Iyanu, and I kept watching clips. And the next thing I saw, it started showing the people who voiced it. And then I see this man, I'm like, whoa, you can't be doing this and you're hiding it. So I said, I'm going to expose him. And he voiced one of the characters. We'll talk about that on this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome to the Creative Juice podcast, Mr. Sam Kugbiyi. Is it Kugbiyi?
Yeah, it's Kugbiyi.
Kugbiyi.
Yeah, it's Kugbiyi. That's very right.
Very right.
Yeah,
all right.
very
Thank you
right.
so much for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, I'm going to allow you say a lot, but I want to start off with the very first question we do on this show.
Yeah.
If you look right behind you, you see a question that says,
Yeah.
if you could open a door to anywhere, where would you go?
Okay. Anywhere. I mean, on a not so serious note, open the door to a vault that is full of gold. Yeah, as long as I can go out with the gold, I'm fine. Now, but if we're talking about a place, I think I would like to go. Honestly, I want to say somewhere far, but I think I'm really grateful for where I am right now. So where I am is where I want to be.
Oh, wow.
Which is strange for me to say, but that's just the truth.
I won't say strange because you see, I may be wrong, but I'm thinking you are referring to it from an aspect of contentment.
Maybe that's it. Maybe. I mean, I want to travel the world and go to places, but at this very moment, if there's anywhere, if they're like, oh, where would you really want to go? I'm happy.
Oh, nice.
Which is strange.
Nice.
Which is strange for me to say, but yeah, that's true.
Well, so I'm going to use that to move into where you are right now in your creative journey.
Yeah.
Right. So I believe that everything in the world, every single thing has a beautiful side to it.
Yeah.
When we can learn to see it with creative eyes, right? And some people in other craft might say, okay, there's no creativity in being a lawyer. And I'm like, you're wrong. The lawyer that asks the question in a creative way that turns the case in their favor, that is creativity in display, right? The engineer that comes up with a very innovative way to fix a very long-standing problem. That is so. I believe that everybody has a form of creativity. They've not just been able to, tie it down to the word creativity, and then they look at us in the similarly creative sphere and they're like, you guys are the creative ones. But I'm like, no, there is creativity in everything. So which is what we want to explore with your story. So I'm just going to start from your creative journey. How did it start? And how did it start? Yes.
Yeah, I think I've always been into creative stuff. I remember my earliest memory is I thought it was drawing, but it's actually acting. I would watch a film and I would literally go and reenact it outside the house. Especially if I watch a Jackie Chan movie, you would hear me screaming, "Why all over the house?" If it's a Jet Li movie, I am reenacting it. And I realized that I didn't even need to be playing with anyone. I could do that all by myself. Um, and then the memory after that is myself drawing. I remember drawing Disney characters, and said that was, I think, in Nigeria we use the primary school system just like they do in the UK. And as I think it was primary three, and I was selling that for lunch money. So yeah, which is, I always, people say, "Are you entrepreneur?" I would say no, but that's not true. So
Bro, you are you.
yeah. So I think that was my earliest memory. I remember collecting a crumpled up 5 naira notes from someone for a Daffy Duck drawing, which I copied from. There's this, there are things that I use. I just copy it. I just draw what I see and I just give it to the person. Um, and I think that proceeded to singing, performing in school. I remember in primary school there was a Nigerian Television Authority, that's NTA,
Yeah.
in my community, the local station. They told certain primary schools to stage a play, and I acted in the play. And I remember very vividly in the dressing room, some of the staff of NTA came in while I still had my pants halfway up and I was in my underwear and I had my shirt on, but pants up halfway up. And they were like, "You are so good. You guys are great. You were fantastic. You were this, you were that." And I will never forget it. And it was just such a, striking moment for me. Um, and then church has been very major in my creative journey. I'm always either in choir or in drama, um, almost all through, you know, my life, for a very long time. There were times where I was doing both. There was a time I was a drama coordinator and the assistant choir coordinator in church, and I was the drama leader in school. So I
Wow.
was literally living that life. And the first time I sang when I was in GS1, I believe, or GS2, um, that day after singing during the student service, because it was boarding school, not burden, boarding school. Um, I think at the end of that month, I had 3 school mothers, which was which was not the norm. And kept saying yes to all the school mothers. And at the end of the first term, I had, I think, 6 school mothers.
Oh wow.
And I didn't have time to study. So, so I was falling back in my academics because I was spending time with older girls. So that was my life. There's like so many crazy things, but everything starts with creativity. Everything starts with either singing or acting or being in the drama group or whatever. Um, and yeah, I wanted to study theater arts in school. And my dad said, "That is not going to happen. You're going to be an accountant."
Oh wow. So you
Yes.
also faced that.
No, yeah, I did. But and I did want to be an accountant because we have a family friend that is very wealthy as an accountant that worked for the government. But accountancy didn't like me back because I failed. I don't think I ever got past an E
Oh
in
wow.
accounting. Yes, it was E or F. And I just told myself, this is becoming embarrassing. Let me move on to something else. I tried economics. But when they started bringing equation into
Oh yeah.
economics, I said, this is not for me. And then at the first or second term of SS3, I joined literature class, and I scored one of the highest scores in
Oh
the
wow.
class. And and a teacher told me, you can study English. English usually allows you to have theater art as a course as well. And then that's how I got into English, doing theater arts at the same time in university. And that's how it just continued. I don't think there's ever a point in my life that I wasn't doing
Something
something
creative.
creative. Yeah, I don't want to draw out the answer
Yeah,
too much, but that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I'd like to let's talk a little bit about the aspect of the accounting
Mm,
and then ending up in creativity.
yeah.
Would you say that sometimes and this is not in any way shading parents,
Hmm.
but could we say that sometimes there are certain biases that we have that makes us want to shoe on our kids
Mm,
into certain fields or
yeah.
certain, areas of studies, maybe
Absolutely.
like to compensate for what as a parent you couldn't have.
Yeah.
Would you say
Yeah.
that factored into a little bit of your dad or your parents saying
Mm,
you should go for accounting?
absolutely, 100%. Um, I think it's out of there are two sides to it, I believe. There's a side of there's something they wish they could do, and because they couldn't do it, it falls on their child to be able to do that.
Mm.
And it's not an entirely selfish thing. It's also for the betterment of the child, because they feel like if you can just do this, this will work. And sometimes they just look at the environment and they see what seems respectable and
Yeah,
profitable,
yeah.
and they're like, you know what, I think I want my son to do this, I want my daughter to do this,
Mm.
because when we go to church or we go to the village or the community, and I say my son is a lawyer, my son is a
Oh yeah,
doctor,
like
yeah, the bragging right of saying
yeah,
my child is doing
like a
this.
bragging right.
Yes, and of course, these occupations are known to be relatively secure. Well, we're known
Well,
to be
yeah,
yeah, we're known to be relatively
yeah.
secure. Now it's the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Now a lot of parents want their kids to be footballers, they want their kids
To
to
be the
be,
creative.
yeah, to be the creatives, to be
Yeah,
filmmakers, to be actors at an early age. So definitely parents, they just want a better life for their
yeah.
children, and that affected my dad as well. My father was so bent on me becoming something that I really wasn't. And because I wanted to be sure, I actually read a book titled Why You Act the Way You Do
Mm.
when I was in secondary school, because I felt like my dad was a very brilliant man, because he's passed now. May his soul
Well,
rest in
welcome to
peace.
the club.
Thank you.
Now, we're not
Yeah.
saying that in a light way, but
Of course. Yeah, it's we
it's
know how it
reality.
is. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is a club. It is a club.
yeah.
Someone says the club of the fatherless. And I'm like, come on. But yeah, my dad he was a very brilliant man. Um my siblings didn't like discussing or debating issues with him, especially if it's something they want to do, because they feel like he's going to have a superior argument
Mm.
because he's so good. He would have been a lawyer, but he's an insurance man. He was
Okay.
an insurance man. And but I wanted to prepare myself for that argument with my father, because
Oh.
he has to pay my school fees,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't escape it. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, no, this boy is an accountant or an economist. He's not going to do any of that nonsense. And I had to really discover. And then I found out that my personality mix up, which according to the book is Mel Sang, is
Mm.
designed for the creative field.
Oh wow.
Yes, and that was really what I needed. That
Mm.
was the move, the push, because people had been telling me things. People had been saying, "You're good at this. You're good at this," and I know I'm good at it. And I just needed something from an expert, because it was a doctor, I believe,
Yeah.
that wrote that book. So I told my dad all of that, and of course, he looked at me at the end of the day. He said, "No, you're still not doing that." So he had to become a rebellious act, and then
Yeah.
eventually he let me do it. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
you say that you had to fight for your uh the life of your creative expression.
absolutely.
So yeah, that is a pinch of stubbornness.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
and you know what you're saying is it resonates very well with me.
Mm.
In my own case, growing up, I could learn things so fast.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
In fact, let me fast forward a bit. When I was in university, I was part of a dance group, and because of how fast I learned things,
Yeah.
I would deliberately miss, like if we had like 10 rehearsals, I would miss eight.
Wow.
Maybe eight is stretching it, but
Yeah.
sometimes not because I wanted to, but maybe something else I
Yeah.
was occupied with. And then I'll come on the ninth rehearsal, watch them for like 30 minutes, step in, boom, 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 like I was there from it.
Wow.
So I had to be like, I hate you. I'm like, I can't. So, if for those of you that watch anime,
Mm.
Naruto,
Yeah.
yeah, my nickname then was Kakashi.
Really?
Yeah, Kakashi was a coffee ninja,
Kakashi
right?
Sensei. Yeah.
So because it was like that.
Mm.
Now, growing up having that ability, that means I learned things pretty
Very
fast.
quickly. Yeah.
So I was a victim of that because
Mm.
my instructors were science based.
Ooh. Mm.
So I was doing well in sciences.
Yeah.
I didn't like maths a lot, but
Okay.
I'd figured a way how to creatively pass maths.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'll get to that. So
Where were you when I was in school?
so they pushed me in the sciences.
Mm.
And being young and impressionable,
Yeah.
which is why I tell people that it's important not to just uh, push your biases on a child, but take the extra time to really understand the psychological makeup, the expressions of that child, because
Mm.
it might be brilliant, looking like he understands sciences, but
Mm-hmm.
his core is in the arts,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
my case, right?
Mm.
I loved wrestling. So I would create paper men and draw each character on it. And I will
Oh.
hold my own Royal Rumble. I will make a ring. I was doing all of that, but the only things that
Mm.
were the people that were like my educational authorities
Yeah.
were seeing was science.
Not even your parents.
Yeah, not even my parents. My mom wanted me to be an engineer,
Okay.
but she wasn't pressing it.
Okay.
But being young and hearing it over and over, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll be an engineer. But
Mm.
until I got to university and I started to see that the math wasn't mathing, the chemistry wasn't
Was in
chemistry,
chemistry.
so
Yeah.
I had to fight
Mm.
for the creative expression while being in the science field.
Oh wow.
You know, so it really, that was a real struggle. But I'm glad that I went through with the sciences.
Okay.
But just like you, when you said you encountered that book,
Mm.
um, I also had an experience with one of I can never forget that she's a Blessed Mary. Her name is Professor Isaiah Obayan
Mm.
in Covenant University, and I would read poems on the stage and just talk about, as in these weren't things I wrote. I just by then I'd started to find my creative
Yeah.
expression.
Yeah.
So I read something and she liked it. Then I wrote a book,
Mm.
and then she looked at me and said, "You have no business in sciences."
Wow.
And that wasn't an accusatory
Mm.
remark.
Mm.
It was more of validation
Yeah.
that I see you
Mm-hmm.
and this is where I feel you should be. That day, everything science in me just
Yeah.
shut down. And
Really.
I went headlong in my creative field.
Wow.
So,
While still in school.
yeah, why still in school? I started to do graphic design on
Wow.
borrowed laptops. I'll borrow my friend's laptop.
Mm.
I started doing graphic design on Microsoft Word.
Whoa.
Yeah, now because I started writing poetry, what was happening was that I was forming a very strong mental image library.
Mm.
Then I watched a movie, which is where would dovetail into one of your expressions. I watched a
Yeah.
movie called Finding Forrester.
Mm.
It was Sean Connery was the the
Main
actor.
character. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a young. I forgot his name, but in the movie his name was Jamal. Was a young writing prodigy,
Mm.
but it was on the street basketball. Like a
Yeah.
bicycle about
Yeah.
it. But cut long story short, they formed this relationship that was very strong.
Mm.
And William Forrester said something I can never forget in that movie. He said, "Writers don't think, they write."
Mm.
Because up until then, I would think of, no, it's not sounding well, the structure.
Yeah.
But then I just said, how is that possible?
Mm.
But then I tried it. And for a while, it was a struggle just writing. But all of a sudden, I found out that the speed of my thought and the speed of my pen matched.
Yeah.
And after a while, my thought was faster than my pen.
Amazing.
So, but I had to fight for that expression
Mm.
in my own way,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
So, which takes me back to your different expressions.
Yeah.
Guys, let me tell you some of the things that Sam does. He's an actor, he sings, he writes, he draws, he does voiceovers. We're going to dwell on that in a bit.
Yeah.
He does voiceovers. He was a radio host. And then he has a company that does all of this.
Yeah.
So, in the time when you won your fight to you have your creative
Yeah.
expression, what has been the most difficult aspect of managing all these expressions as a creative?
Oh, I think it's
Starting from the acting part.
from the acting part, but just generally it's still a struggle.
Okay.
It is still a struggle. Um, and just to clarify, when you say finding expression, do you mean doing the thing or making it in the industry or
Let's start with doing it and then we'll go to making it in the
okay?
industry.
Because I'm still working on making it. I'm not really made it yet. But
Sorry, pause.
yeah.
That reminds me of the song you sang at the event
Yeah.
about, I think it was what was the title of this? Something abroad.
Oh, there's
Like,
India Abroad. Is it India Abroad? Oh,
yeah.
oh, that's
Well,
the first
where
one.
you are like you thought, once you get there, you
Yes,
make
now
it.
make
But
it.
yeah, so yeah,
That's another
that's
conversation,
another
brother.
conversation, and we'll
Yeah,
have that conversation.
no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, so finding expression, I think one of the struggles I had as an actor was I always thought I needed permission from people to be
Mm.
validated as an actor. Uh, Prior to when I left university, everything was there was always a ready-made platform. There's always like school drama, there's always like university drama, there's always some kind of drama thing that, and I will say this, and I mean this in all humility. I feel like these platforms were just platforms for me to go into and just steal somebody's shine and just go and
Wow.
just be because um I didn't even understand what auditions didn't really apply to me. I thought platforms were there for me to just go and shine. Every audition I went for, it was I was 110% confident that I was going to get something.
Oh, wow.
When I was in university, 200 level, University of Ilorin, I came in through direct entry, so I didn't do 100 level.
Okay.
And then a friend of mine said, "Oh, there's this theater artist. I didn't open auditions in theater arts." And I was like, okay, what I mean, I want to act, so let's go. And they did these rounds of audition, and I walked out of that place. It was the auditions. It was supposed to be second round of auditions, but I walked out of that audition with 3 roles confirmed. Two,
Okay.
one epic, one contemporary, and one musical. An epic musical, like a classical musical
Oh yeah.
play. And literally the first one came to me, the first person came to me when I was going back to the hostel from the audition, ran to me with a script, shoved it in my shirt and said, "You already have to, this is your role, go and study for it. Don't tell anybody because nobody knows yet." And then I think the last one, I can't remember how I got the second one, but the last one, I had totally forgotten that that audition happened. But I was leaving one of the other rehearsals, and one lady came to me and said, I've been looking for you. And I was like, what did I do? She
What
was
did
like,
you do?
you are the guy, you are the one, you can sing. Like, please just come with me right now. So I left one rehearsal and walked into another one, and I was given a major role, like right there. And that was my experience for most of my university years.
Yes.
You know the feeling when a celebrity comes and they are giving them scripts and they're like, "No, I don't want to take this. I don't want to do
Yeah,
this."
yeah.
I kid you not, I was doing that. Like people were running to me and were like, "Bro, I beg you, just take the role in my play." I'm like, "No, I'm doing like 6 plays already. I just need to walk. Just say one line." And I mean, it was for the first time in my life, I would finish school at 4. I would jump from one rehearsal to the other till 10 p.m. at night, and I would go home. That was the first time I fell asleep eating food. It had never happened to me in my life. I literally fell asleep and dunked my nose in stew, rice and stew. I didn't think it was possible, and I said I would never do this again. But that was my experience. I was spoiled, literally. And then I finished school, finished NYC, which is the 1-year compulsory course we do in Nigeria. And there were nobody was asking me for roles. Nobody was begging me with scripts. So I was like, what do you do
Yeah.
when you want to act? And then people started saying, oh, you have to travel to Lagos. You have to do auditions. Lagos is where stuff is
Everything's
happening.
yeah.
And I tried that. I would never forget. I sold my Lumia phone, Nokia Lumia phone,
Oh, wow.
that I was so in love with, because I wanted to take a night bus and go to Lagos to audition for a Funke Akindele audition then in Lagos.
All right. For which of the
I think it was one of those the series. He was just
series,
about
okay.
to kick off the series,
series,
Jennifer
okay.
series. There were hundreds of people because I got to Lagos in the morning, around, because it was a night bus. I got to Lagos around 8 a.m. in the morning, found my way to I think it was somewhere on the island.
Yeah.
That the audition was happening. There were hundreds of people there. Hundreds. Eventually it got to my turn. I saw Funke Akindele and I was like, oh my gosh.
You were starstruck.
For a little bit. And I acted. She said, play this role. I did everything. And she said, cry on command. And that is where everything went wrong. Because I don't cry on, well, hopefully I will learn it. But I was such a comedic actor that I couldn't cry on command. And she looked at me and she was like, where did you come from? I said, I came from Abuja. All the way from Abuja to Lagos? And she looked around. She said, okay, you know what? Can you drive? Because there are driver roles that we can get you in. I said, I'm just learning how to drive. She said, this is Lagos. You can't just be learning how to drive. And that's how I didn't get a role with Funke. And then I went back to Abuja, which is where I was staying. And I was depressed actually because I didn't know what to do. And I was tired of auditions. And I told myself, I am going to build my own platform.
Okay, now it gets interesting.
Yeah, I am going to build my own platform. I am tired of auditions because I've done auditions in Abuja, I've done in Lagos, I've done in so many places. And I said, I'm going to, because I had tried to start a theater company right out of the
University.
right out of university. And I wrote, it's a musical. I think it was 14 original songs. And I got the cast together. There were more people came to watch our rehearsals than
Than
the
the actual-
eventual, yeah, because of course I didn't know anything about marketing, about promoting the event, about, timing and all of that. I had no idea. But the product was so beautiful, was so nice. It was a disaster, but it was still so beautiful. From my perspective, it was absolute nonsense. The music was divine, heavenly, but my execution, I was doing too much. I was the main actor, I was the director, and I was on stage singing, and the musician who had refused to come for rehearsals was playing the wrong key, and I was singing and I was doing like this to the guy right on stage on the day of the performance.
Maybe they thought you were dancing.
I hope so, because it looked terrible. Anyways, so I'd failed before. I'd got into debt, but then it's not really debt because how much I was in debt of 50,000 naira, which is small. But at that time,
it was a lot.
it wasn't a lot in itself, but it was a lot to me.
To you, yeah.
Because I was so sure I was going to make hundreds of thousands of naira, and I was in debt of almost 100,000 naira, and I didn't want to leave bed that the following day. I didn't want to get out of bed. It was terrible. But anyways, after this Funkagidele incident, I decided I'm going to start this company again. I'm going to do it right. But that decision, nothing happened for the next 3 years.
Oh,
Yeah,
tell me about
nothing. So I was working on radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was scared to start this thing because it was a big thing. I mean, I'd failed before. Eventually, a musician that came for an interview, his name is Jarrell, and he said, if you've done this before, we're just talking about past experiences. He said, you should start the company again. And I think that was the kick, and things just started to happen, and one thing led to the other, and we restarted SAC Productions. So yeah.
So we're going to talk a bit about site production, but I want to jump a bit forward to how you come up with your creative ideas.
Oh,
Where do you draw inspiration from?
I would say my inspiration comes from 3 places or 3 levels of inspiration.
Okay.
And I'll start with the purest one, which is God Almighty or the Holy Spirit. That's the one that just, you get that inspiration, you get things that you know that it didn't come from you.
Yeah.
You couldn't have calculated it. You couldn't have, tried to be clever and come
It's
up with
beyond
this.
you.
It's beyond you. You feel like you're just a conduit. That is the most beautiful, purest form. And then there's one that comes from within me, from my mind, maybe things that I've been stewing on, an idea that I've been thinking about, a topic that has been irritating me, annoying me, something I really want to talk about, something I feel very passionate about, very strongly about. And I'm like, oh wait, maybe if I do this and I bring this and I bring this, but I feel like all of it is still God, but they feel different. It feels different when you're the one when you're like, oh, I'm putting the elements together. And then the third is from my environment, which is it could be a scenario, it could be something happening in the community, something happening in the world, something I see on social media. Yeah, there are so many things that can inspire you. Sometimes a picture that I see could inspire me. Sometimes the key or a particular progression of a song could inspire me to write another song. Yeah, so these are the 3 places that inspiration comes from. Yeah, for me.
All right. So let's delve a little bit deeper to Iyanu.
Yeah.
How did Iyanu happen? Because if we go off the backdrop of you being tired of auditions,
Yeah.
and here is a a cartoon series, which, by the way, has just recently renewed for season 2.
Yeah.
In today's times, that is a big deal.
Yeah.
And this is a cartoon series that, with the Yoruba um, culture background,
Yeah.
but done in such a fantastic way.
Mm.
It's showing on Cartoon Network and HBO,
Yeah.
right? Clock that. And here you are, you got that role to voice Toye,
Yeah.
right? So, two questions.
Yeah.
From the background of being tired of auditions and being rejected
Yeah.
to landing the role to play Toye in an international recognized series,
Yeah.
how did that happen? And then the second
Yeah.
question is this:
Okay.
tell us about Toye, the character.
Lovely. Okay, I love those questions. For how that happened, yes, I was done with auditions. And when Iyanu happened, it was, I think, a few years after I had restarted SAC Productions, and we had done a few musicals, and we had done some audio drama projects. Um, a friend of mine uh who I would say, well, started out as someone I was going to mentor, but then I don't know if I would call myself mentor, but then not every mentor is a skill mentor. So when it comes to skill, her name is Sarah Johnson. She actually played Iyano herself.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
For real?
Yes. We worked together. So we
Wow.
worked together in the same radio station. I was a host on that show. And she wanted to explore radio as a thing, and she was like, "Oh, she actually, my younger brother connected us together because she's a friend to my younger brother, and then we got introduced, and she was working with me on radio. She was my co-host for my Saturday show, and she actually has done a lot of courses, and she has these connections because she's really into voiceover. I am doing other things and voiceover. So she's deep into voiceover. And she said, there's this audition that people are talking about. Oh, would you want to do it? I mean, you should try it. And I was like, audition? Me? Please, no. And she asked, I think she asked me a second time. She said, it's not a big deal. Just, I can send you the script. You just do it in the office because we have studios in the radio station, of course. Or just do it at home. And I was like, I didn't bring my mic. She was like, then use your phone. Just do it. And I was like, okay, send the script. I'll do it. And she sent the audition script that had been sent out to a lot of people. But it's not just, it wasn't like, it was open, but it wasn't just open. It was sent to communities of like people into voiceover, people into voiceover, because they wanted professionals to audition for it.
Sure.
And I took my phone and I recorded. I actually auditioned for the role of that is actually my Toye's dad. That is Camphor, because I was like, oh man, it sounds manly. I think I like that. And then I now thought, you know what, but it doesn't hurt to take up some of the other roles and just do that and see what happens. And then I recorded, like, I did three roles. I auditioned for B.
Okay.
I auditioned for Toye. I auditioned for Camphor. And I sent all three out, and I totally forgot about it because I was like, auditions. Me and auditions were like this. We never meet. And several months later, same Sarah called me and she said, where are you right now? I said, I'm around. I'm doing my business. What do you want? Because it wasn't the weekend. I don't want to hear from, because she's like my sister, and I don't want to hear from you if it's not weekend, because it means that you want to ask me for what we're going to do next week, and I don't have any topics. So I was like, leave me alone. I'm busy. She's like, no, I'm serious. You should check your LinkedIn, check your email. And I was like, LinkedIn, email, what for? She said, they've been looking for you for that role you auditioned for. I said, no, you're kidding. Is that true? So I went in. Apparently, they had tried to reach me on one of my several email addresses. They had tried to reach me on LinkedIn, several messages from the casting director. They had tried to reach me in like another way that I just wasn't getting the messages. But immediately I called the casting director, and she said, I want to have an audition with you tomorrow. So I said, okay, great. Tomorrow. Like, of course, I had to, because I didn't have access to a studio, because I'm not about to spend like 50,000 to just get in a studio. Because I didn't even know what was happening. I was just being my stubborn self, and I was like, no, what's going on? And I set up, I have a small studio space at home, makeshift. And then I have this professional USB mic. So I just used that, and she said, okay, I'm going to send you some lines, read this, do this. And usually she was like, from what I heard, it takes about a month for them to, finalize on your callbacks, after your callbacks. And after I did the audition, I sent what I had done, I sent it in. I was like, cool. And she sent me an email an hour later. And she said, in the fastest callback acceptance ever, Samuel Kugbiyi, you have the role of Toye. And I lost it. I lost it. And the thing is, I still didn't know that it was supposed to be that big.
Yeah.
Because several, as we got the contract, as so many things started to happen, some things I can't disclose.
Okay, I'm
You know?
going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell us. You don't have to tell us how much, but
Yeah. It was good money. It was good money because the moment I saw how much we're supposed to be paid per hour in dollars, that's how I said, it's done.
Yeah.
Somehow you finally made it this one because I had never been paid that before.
Yeah.
And this was per hour. And when we finished recording the first few scenes, I think maybe we spent about, let's say, a month or two to record the first couple of scenes, and we're getting our stride on. And they sent us our first payments and whatever. When I saw what it was in dollars, I hid my phone. I was like, no. I mean, for a Nigerian being earning in dollars from voiceover, I was like, really? Yeah, it was a beautiful feeling.
Yeah. So I like that. I like your vulnerability to share how raw the feeling was.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, what I try to tell people, especially so we have an academy where we train people on how to see things creatively. It's called Seeing Creatively Academy. One of the things I try to tell them is that you are valid for anything that you dream. And here was, yes, the background to the story is Nigerian and all of that, but this is an internationally produced franchise.
Yep.
And there you are, in your own estimation, like you said.
Yeah.
But you got the role.
I did.
And you didn't get it because you pressed some buttons. It was because you were what the role.
Yeah.
Right. So now, going from I'm tired of auditions to, even though you were stubborn, you said,
I still did it.
You did the audition.
Yeah.
You got the role. Here's Toye being voiced by you.
Yeah.
What did that do to your? Remember where we started from? All those years of fighting to be a creative. How did that sort of validate the choice?
I mean, it's one of the moments that. Funny thing is, because I do a lot of recording, a lot of audio work, a lot of podcast, radio drama, the process itself didn't feel very strange. Of course, it felt amazing when we would be recording. The director, who also is the casting director, was always joining us from this country. I think it was Lisbon.
Yeah.
Yes, she was always joining us from Lisbon. Lisbon is the capital city of
Portugal.
Thank you, Portugal. Yes, she was directing from Portugal. The producer was from the United States. Some of the executive producers from HBO and whatnot, they were from different parts of the world.
Yeah.
There were some animators that were from, also from the United States and different parts of the world. And this me in Nigeria doing this voicing, that blew my mind. That was incredible. But you see, the moment that really made it stick for me, not stick, I think it was, I don't know how to describe the feeling.
Like cemented the experience, yeah?
Would I say cemented? It almost feels like, that feeling when angels come from the sky and you hear, that feeling. I got that feeling when I got invited to the States for the premiere of Iyanu. And I was flown in first class for the first time. I was lodged. I was flown from Calgary to LA and from LA to somewhere else, and it was from hotel to hotel. And people were meeting me, and people were talking, and I watched it on the big screen, and I was hearing my voice, my sometimes annoying voice, on the big screen.
Yeah.
And the following day was going to be launching on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
And in my hotel room, I was watching the character. It's hard to describe what it does to you.
Yeah.
Where it's validation, but if you're not careful, you almost go on the street and just start dancing because it's just such a beautiful feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the fact that, because you see, one of the things that I tell people again is it all adds up.
Yeah.
Every rejection is an addition to your journey.
Yeah.
So look at it this way, right? When I say that there's beauty in everything when you learn to see it with creative eyes, is
Yeah.
the situation you had with Funke Akindele, where
Yeah.
you were nearly there,
Yeah. It was so close.
right?
Yeah.
Nearly there, and
Mm.
then that fell flat on your face.
Yeah.
It wrote inside you a certain kind of emotion
Mm-hmm.
that if you were to voice somebody disappointed,
Mm.
you knew where you
Yeah.
could draw it from, right? So I tell
Absolutely.
people that every experience
Mm.
is almost like, if we were to speak as if we were writing a script,
Yeah.
every experience is an emotion
Mm.
that you can draw on to make the script believable.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, so
Absolutely.
now we have Toye, we
Yeah.
have uh you voicing Toye.
Mm-hmm.
The next question, which as we begin to round up our conversation, I would like to pick
Yeah.
from
Mm.
this book, which is Six Tips to Thrive as a Creative. So I'm going to ask you six quick fire questions,
Okay.
right? Which are from the basis of this book.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that we have spoken about sort of touches it in a way.
Okay.
And the first one is, what would you say the role of being audacious plays as a creative?
Oh, yeah. Being audacious is first of all, it's what sets you apart. There are, and like you said, rightly said, there's creativity in everything. In the age of social media, everyone is a creator.
Hmm.
Everyone is dabbling into a creative thing or the other. What sets the successful apart from the mediocre is audacity.
Hmm.
It is audacity. When you, because I've studied this thing, because as a creative, I have this thing, my own Achilles heel, if I can put it that way,
Yeah.
that I'm trying to band aid with metal
Yeah.
so that it won't be a problem for me, is my constant desire for validation.
Hmm.
Because in my foundational stages, validation was given freely. So I wasn't even given the chance to validate myself.
Myself, yeah.
Other people were always validating me. Oh, you're so this, you're so that, you can do this. I mean, when my other classmates were in secondary school, didn't have one school mother. I had 6 school mothers. So I'm like, everybody looked at me like
balling.
I was balling. But then when the noise of life quieted down and it was just me by myself,
Yeah.
I had to start learning how to be audacious, how to say, you know what? I want to do this thing. It seems crazy. It's impossible, but I'm going to do it. I want to stage a musical in Abuja and it's going to cost me millions of naira, but I don't know where the money is going to come from. But you know what? I'm going to do an audition and I'm going to call people and I'm going to write a play and I don't know what's going to happen next, but there's a level of being unrealistic that you have to hold on to, embody. And for me, whether the person say whether you a Christian or whatever religion you have, there's a place of believing in a higher power. And when you believe that you are backed by someone higher than yourself, you move a little recklessly.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of recklessness that creates things.
Yeah, creates
Not
things.
reckless, not destructive recklessness,
true.
but a creative recklessness
Yes.
where you become audacious, where you stop overthinking everything. And it's needed in this stage. Even till today, I still build on that. I still remind myself that you have to take action without waiting for permission.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to say something just for posterity's sake.
Mhm.
You know, we're creating this podcast without an audience ready.
Yeah, exactly. That's the audacity.
You know?
Yeah.
But because we know that they will catch up
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
So imagine Toye leads to maybe a Marvel role.
Amen to that.
And
Amen to
they're
that.
like, oh, where did he come from? Oh,
Yeah.
this is a documentation of the story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because every little bit adds to the creative journey.
Yeah.
Let me read out something from the book.
Please do.
It says, don't wait for approvals to showcase your creation. Don't fall for the trap of not good enough. And don't cheat yourself or the world by predicating your creativity on the opinion of others.
Wow.
Which just summarizes everything you said.
Yeah, that's
Now,
amazing. That's good.
Second question. What would you say to creatives who want to play small and safe?
I was having a conversation with my wife today, just today. And the conversation was basically about the number of people that I have had the opportunity to collaborate with because I decided to start my company, SAC Productions. If I had played small, I would have done myself and all those other people a disservice. So, as a creative, you are cheating yourself and all those whose destinies are tied to you and the world when you play small. It is better to play big and learn. There's nothing like failing. When you play big, you learn. When you play small, you become a local champion and you swim in the delusion that, oh yeah, I'm so good. But then you do no good when you play small. Yeah.
Awesome. Again, I will read something out of the book.
Yeah, please do.
And just so you know, he hasn't read this.
Yeah.
I just showed it to you today for the first time.
Yeah.
He said, playing small is for those who don't dare to believe they have a place in greatness.
Wow.
And then the second is, don't play small. There is no gain in doing so.
Yeah.
Because the price of admission to playing big is in your mind.
Absolutely.
So, third question. And this is my favorite in the book.
Okay.
Have you heard of the term admiration paralysis?
Wow. No, I haven't. Please tell me about it.
So, the concept of admiration paralysis is that you admire someone so much that you not get to the point like, nah, I can never be as good as that.
Ooh.
So you don't do what you need to do.
Yeah.
So let me flip this backwards.
Okay.
So admiration should fuel your desire to create and not make you cower in the fear that leads to inaction. This is the question.
Yeah.
Honestly, have you suffered admiration paralysis at any stage in your career?
Oh man, that's a constant. Constantly. There are people who I feel, oh yeah, this is a different level. I'm not there yet. But then that I'm not there yet is not out of humility. It is a part of me saying, yeah, maybe not. And then for me, a lot of times when I admire a position, a status, a level of impact, a level of influence that I know in my heart that is possible. But when you admire it so much, I see that it's so big, I put it on so high a pedestal that I now start looking for smaller ways and smaller alternatives. I'm like, hey, but so if I can do this small, it's not as big as this, but then it's close enough, because if this is this big and I can do this, it's still something. But the truth is that is not the fullness of my potential.
So would you say that admiration paralysis, it's an Achilles heel that will cheat any creative from becoming the very best that they can be?
Absolutely.
So now that you're aware of this, from just this explanation, how would you advise a creative to break out of that?
I will say this: be bold and dream. Just dream. Dreaming is such a powerful thing. Yes, they say the price of dreaming and the price of execution, or the price of attaining the dream, are two different things. But you have to dream before you even attain anything. Everyone that you have seen achieve, or anyone that you admire on that pedestal, it's a dream that took them there. Just dream. I think dream so strongly that you can't help but try to, achieve that dream or see that dream come to fruition. Just dream. Because if you do, and dream big, because dreaming is free.
Yeah.
Dreaming is free. And the thing is, I just discovered recently through, a few studies in like positive psychology and neuroscience and what do you call that? This branch of physics that has to do with studying quantum physics. They've discovered that when you imagine, the brain doesn't know the difference between what is imagined and what is real.
Yeah.
So this is free ticket into your own head to see the best possible life that you can have. And according to neuroscience, when you dream and imagine something with emotion long enough, it sticks to your brain. You start to create pathways in your brain, neural pathways. You start to create stuff in your nervous system. And what that does is that it makes you inevitably start to move in that direction slowly. Now, add that to having God that you can pray to, or having people that you can talk to, writing it down. So for anyone creative, whatever, if you are listening to this, if there's anything that you can walk away with, is dream big, dream audaciously, do it often and with feeling, and write it down.
Let me go to the fourth one.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think we would have to do this again. The fourth point in the book says starts with what you have. Starts without the perfect tool.
Yeah.
I'm going to read a quote and then let me know what your start is on it.
Yeah.
If you don't have it when you want to start, you don't need it to start.
That is so good. I need to write that down. That is so good.
No, as a guest on the show, you're going to get a copy of the book. So,
that's what's up. Thank you. Thank you.
It's what we do on the show. So, as someone that has built your own company, Sack Production,
Yeah.
How has that quote, if you do not have it when you want to start, you
Yeah.
don't need it to start, how has it played out?
It is one of the truest statements that I didn't even realize how true it was until you mentioned it. Because everything I've had, I started it with what I had on me. And a lot of times, what you have doesn't feel like it's enough. And the thing is, maybe it's never going to feel like it's enough. And that's what I'm realizing. Because the truth is, all those external validations, all those external things, if I had these gadgets, if I had this thing, if I had this contact, if I had this amount of money, I would be able to do this. But the thing is, you actually do not need it. You don't need it. In fact, some of those things, like you said it so beautifully. If you don't have it, then you don't need it to start.
Yeah.
And I think there's this thing about we creatives. We want to be perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Perfection. Like, you see, there is something they call prototype hell, where you are just tweaking and building and thinking. Oh my God. Or analysis paralysis. There are so many pitfalls that we creatives have. There's the first step, which is analysis paralysis, where you're thinking, but I don't have this. So that means I can't do this. Then if I had this, I would, okay, let me reframe this idea. Let me fine tune. And then you fine tune and fine tune and fine tune.
And then you find out that somebody else executes the idea. Shabby, but they've done it.
Yo, that thing pains me because I still experienced it recently.
There's so many things that I should have done.
Yeah.
That I had admiration paralysis. Thinking I had to have everything to start.
Yeah.
Right. Let me tell you a very funny story. So, we set up this space in, I think, 3 days. And then I was like, I don't have the right chair.
Yeah.
And I was stressing over it. And then I just heard a voice say, "Hey, your own book. What does it say?"
Yeah.
If you don't have it when you're going to start, you don't need.
I just
went online, Facebook Marketplace.
Wow.
Found a fantastic deal, and that's what I'm sitting on.
Exactly. Like, cool. Think this looks like several months of
3 days.
curating.
I had everything in bits and pieces. You know what? I just told myself, I'm going to start and I'm going to record Sam this week. And I just pinned myself to it.
Yeah.
There were so many things I needed, but I said no. Because one thing I also need to say to creatives is, and this, once you understand this, it is one of the strongest things that can help you. Every time you tell yourself you're going to do something and then you end up not doing it, you're teaching your mind how to be okay with not following through with what you want to do. I'm speaking from experience, trust me.
Absolutely.
And your mind will create scenarios where you have valid excuses why you can push it forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and for someone who is in the state of analysis paralysis, what happens is that you are the prime subject to fall into that, where you give yourself valid excuses why you shouldn't start because you're still analyzing this part. And before you know it, you become so comfortable with not following through with things. So if you find yourself that you're in that space as a creative, what I say is, force yourself to follow through on things. It's going to be painful. Trust me.
Mm,
No,
mm,
no habit changes
yeah.
on its own accord. You force it.
Yeah.
So to prove that, when I was setting up the final tweaks, um, I was tired. I was sleepy. My wife was like, "Go to bed." I said, "Okay, you know what? I will do it tomorrow."
Mm,
Which was I would finish the setup tomorrow.
mhm,
I just need to pick something downstairs. So I
mm.
came to the office to pick. I think I think it was my phone or something. I can't remember. But immediately I got here, I heard that voice. Eh. You know, and I knew exactly
Yeah.
that if I push this till tomorrow,
Mm,
I am reinforcing that habit.
yeah.
So I came downstairs around 12 o'clock. I left here around 4 a.m.
Whoa.
About 3:30, 4 a.m.
Wow. Wow.
But what that did for me was a validation of, yes, I did it.
Yeah.
So as a
Yeah.
creative, if you are in that place where you feel you need heaven to start, trust me, the
Mhm.
bigger trap is that you're teaching yourself that it's okay to push things you should do forward. You
Yes.
don't want to be in that trap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the reason why I dwelled on that is from what some of the things you said in passing, which
Mhm.
I'm going to, you know, bring up, the fact that you did not have a studio space,
Yeah.
but you had a small space in your house
Yeah.
that you could convert.
Mhm.
What's the difference? One is a studio space, one is a space.
Yeah.
Let the
Exactly.
studio figure out itself. And from
Yeah.
that space, you got
Yeah.
an international role
Yep.
to voice on. So, what's your excuse?
Mhm.
Now, two more questions. The
Please
fifth
go
one
ahead. Yeah.
is this, which you said
Mm,
perfectly. You said write things down.
mm,
So, the fifth point in the book says own your story.
mm.
Document, document, document.
Yeah.
You can only take ownership of what you document.
Mm,
Now, I went through your profile and I saw that there were lots of stage plays that you had done.
yeah.
And from my background of writing poetry, I understand that a lot of writing goes into that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, apart from the writing, you can now curate those stories and present it to the world because the first thing you did was to own it.
Yeah.
Can you speak on the importance of documenting your creative journey?
Oh. I am still in the process of learning to document the process itself. I think I've mastered to a good extent the art of I've mastered the art of capturing ideas,
Okay.
which is what a lot of creatives I can't speak for everyone, but I think on average, I would have maybe 3 dozen ideas in a year for a film, for story ideas on average. So I started writing them in my notes apps. In my notes apps, if I type story idea,
Oh,
I would get lost. And it's a good thing because that means I can always look at them and say, oh my gosh, this idea. In fact, my first play in Canada, a one-man play,
yeah.
I didn't think I was going to do a one-man play. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just going through my phone and I had written in 2020, I think 2020. That was 3 years before I came to Canada. I'd written on my phone that I want to do a one-man play.
Mm.
Okay, and it's going to be a musical.
Mm.
Okay, I just wrote sketches of what that might look like. And just going through, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I should do it. And then that spurred me to talk to one of the most amazing artistic directors that a theater can have in Canada. That's Jack Greenhouse of Vertigo Theater.
Oh, yeah.
And he looked at it and was like, Sam, that sounds like a great idea. You should write the script. You should apply for a fringe. And then that's how I went ahead and applied for the fringe. And he told me so many things. He gave me so many resources just to prepare me to apply for the fringe. And I got into the fringe. But my point is documenting those ideas. Some of the songs that I sang
Yeah.
in that, and it's that India Abroad that I put into a 15-minute package and presented and you heard.
No, guys, you should listen to India Abroad. If you're an immigrant or son or there's some form of immigration in
Yeah.
you, not necessarily from Africa, but
Yeah.
it resonates so much with the story of and which is where the power of storytelling comes to play.
Yeah.
Because there's some of the things that we experience as immigrants, right? Which it's not fun to speak about,
Mm.
but hearing it from a comical musical,
Yeah.
right? sort of makes it the journey worthwhile.
Mm.
So you want to check out in
Yeah,
the abroad for
India
now.
abroad. Yeah, and just to mention, India abroad is going to be coming to stage again.
Wow.
Yeah, it's coming to stage in sometime this year between August and September.
Okay.
We're working on it. We're applying for grants. I have partners who want to work with me already. It's going to be expanded.
Okay.
From a 40-minute play into a 55 or an hour
Nice.
one-man play. More songs will be added.
Oh yeah.
The set is going to be bigger. It's going to be really crazy. We have
So
we have
you
some really
guys
great plans.
look out for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll let you know absolutely when it's happening.
Definitely.
Yeah, so documenting, and some of the songs, as I was saying, there are songs that I didn't have lyrics to. They were just sounds that came to my head, and I recorded it in my phone recorder.
Yeah.
And eventually it came to be. So writing down ideas, awesome. Documenting ideas in the age of social media. There are people, that is the next level of practice that I'm trying to develop. Because there are people who have built billion-dollar brands. I mean, they may not make $1 billion a year, but they built enough to never worry about money again because they just document the process of the artwork. I follow so many artists on YouTube. I follow so many people that do creative stuff on YouTube. People aren't even coming for the final result, the final product. They are coming to see why you decided to do it, the challenges you faced in doing it, and how you finished it. And I realized that every artist, for every project you make, whether it's writing a poem, drawing a piece of art, writing a song, staging a play, you are telling a hero story from the beginning to the end. You see a problem, you face a challenge, you go through so many things, and then you win at the end.
Yeah.
And that's what people are coming for. That's what people want to be
Not just the
associated.
final piece,
No,
the
they
entire
don't.
journey.
The truth is, people care more about
Your
the
process.
process than the final piece. Because I do visual art as well. I've been studying what makes a visual art piece important. And I realized that a lot of times it's because of what the artist went through to make that piece of art, not really the piece of art itself that has value. It's the process that led to the piece of art that gave it value. So I think about that every time I want to do a sketch, or I want to do a digital art piece, and I'm like, I don't feel like documenting. But I'm like,
Hey.
people care more about this process. And I'm like, oh gosh, but I don't want to have a camera behind my back. I'm like, dude, it is part of the work.
The funny thing is that you're giving me an idea, which we're definitely going to work on.
Okay.
And I'm just going to read something about what you just said about this. Everyone's journey is unique. To treat your own creative story as an unimportant experience is to discard a masterpiece of raw material.
Ooh.
Therefore, you must own your story. And to own it, you must document it.
Wow.
Now,
I'm still gonna get a copy of the book, right? Just to confirm, because that is really good.
And it was my mentor that taught me something. He said, in creative spaces, we often say brilliant things spontaneously. The most brilliant insights, where did that come from moments, often occur in the flow of conversation, brainstorming on idle thought. These moments are ephemeral. If not captured, they are lost forever. If you cannot revisit them, you might forget.
Yes.
So you develop a system to capture this by your voice notes, your phone notes.
Yeah.
Because the next thing in the book says that the way to prevent this is to develop a system for capturing the creativity that flows from you. I have had brilliant ideas come to me while in the shower. After forgetting many of those ideas, what I resorted to doing was keeping my phone at arm's length.
Very good.
So I could create a voice recording. Sometimes I have soap in my eye. Grab the phone and get it.
Yeah.
So which is very true. And I like that you gave an experiential answer on how, India brother celebrating came to be.
Yeah.
The final one, right?
Yeah.
Which I think might be an emotional one, is that what does it mean to decide to succeed as a creative?
Decide to succeed.
So before you answer, right, I want you to factor in everything that you've been through to get to where you are. As I said, it might be an emotional one.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to decide to succeed?
I think early on, I think it was after I read Think and Grow Rich. I realized that wanting to succeed and deciding to succeed are two different things. And everybody wants to succeed. Everybody wants to succeed. But deciding is not even choosing. Deciding is saying, okay, yeah, I want to succeed. Deciding to succeed is saying that I have to.
We die here.
I must. Exactly. I must. Like, I have eliminated every other choice.
Yeah.
And I think I got to that point. If my wife's watching this, I love you and I know you understand. when we got to Canada, after about a year and a half of getting into Canada, I had been desperately trying to find any job outside the creative field because I didn't feel the creative field had any immediate financial gains for me, not the way I wanted. And I never got an interview, talk less of a job. And I don't think it's just me. I think God has a hand in that because I think God was doing me shaggy a little bit because I tried everything, and any small thing I did in the creative field was kind of opening up. But everything I was doing outside the creative field, it was just. And one morning, I just got this imagery of myself walking between two fields, and one field has fruits and stuff I can eat, but it's unkempt.
Yeah.
It's bushy. It's not well kept. It's not looking good. And on the other side, it's a barren field that is well tilled, looks very well put together, but it's not giving any fruit. And what came to mind is, why don't you till the field that is feeding you and leave the one that isn't feeding you? And that was the moment I decided I am going to focus on my gifts and my talents as a creative. I'm going to choose because yes, you can choose. I'm going to choose my field. I'm going to choose to be a creator as who I am fully. And I'm going to decide that I must make it. I don't have a choice.
Wow.
Like you said, we died. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's been an amazing time with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I there's so many things to take from the humbling story and how the story is evolving into what it is now and what definitely
It's gonna be.
it's going to be. And I say it from seeing with my creative eye that Toye, the character of Toye, is just a stepping stone to other creatives.
I believe that.
So this is how my mind works, right? There's a young person there, an artist, an illustrator, a voiceover artist that is like, wow, looks into his archives and sees tons of ideas that Admiration Paralysis has made him jettison. And then sees you, hears your story, watches this podcast, watches Iyanu, and says, hey, I can do that. So what the pattern word from me on, I'll let you say yours, is that honoring our creative journey and actually, walking the walk, not just talking to talk. Like you said, will open doors for people to find expression in their own craft also.
Absolutely.
So whether you're in the creative space like we are in, or you are in a regular 9 to 5, there's an aspect of creativity that you can employ on your job that will open you up to more. So if you are sitting there watching this and thinking, I'm not good enough. You had some story from multiple rejections to landing a major role in voicing over a character in Iyanu.
Absolutely.
Please, Cartoon Network, HBO. Is it HBO Plus or HBO?
I think it's HBO Max.
But
I think it's Max now.
So on HBO Max, you can watch Iyanu and let that fuel you to say, if Sam can do it, I can also do it. And guess what? You can do it also. Remember, creativity is not a reserve for people in the creative field. It is an expression for every human. You just need to tap into it, find it, and make the most of it. So, what would be your parting words?
My parting words will be, and I'm trying to think so that I drop something very useful. It's important to dream. To your dream, add faith. To your faith, add works. because without those three, nothing works.
Wow, Sam, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So, if people want to find you
Yeah.
on the streets of social life, how do they find you?
Yeah. For my personal account, it's the same, Samuel Kugbiyi, across platform. That is Samuel, then Kugbiyi. And for my media production company, that is SAC Productions. That is, you find it, the handle is SACP_media. That is SAKP_media.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
So,
Yeah.
wow, we've had an amazing time on the show. So you guys know what to do. Give your boy a follow, and let's watch this creative journey get to the next level. All right. See you on the next episode.
See ya. Thank you so much.
All right. Yes.